Good Vach, my friends. Today we're learning Bava Basra Daf Kuf Ayin Gimel. From the top of the page, we're going to read it and explain. Ve'ela hadetanya keshem she'en motzim shtar chov ze al ze, kach en motzim al acherim. V'mai kamiflegei. באותיות נקנות במסירה כמפלגי. תנא דידן סבר אותיות נקנות במסירה, ותנא ברא סבר אין אותיות נקנות במסירה. So we learned in the Mishnah that we have two people called Yosef and Shimon who live in the same city, so they can't take out a star one against each other. But we medayek that they could take out a star, if they're the Malvin against someone else, they could say to someone else, look, here's the star that says you owe Yosef and Shimon, I'm the Yosef and Shimon, please pay me. So the Gemara asks over here, there is another brisa that says, like they can't take out a star choiv one against each other, they can't be moitzi against someone else a star choiv. And we explained that everyone agrees in the case where it's nefila of one person and one person to find, we're not choishesh for nefila. So why is the machloikis over here? The our Mishnah says you could, and the brisa says you can't. So the Gemara, the machloikis is, can oitzios, can a star be nikne b'mesira? That's the machloikis. Our Mishnah hold oisios niknes b'mesira. That means if Yosef and Shimon gave the other Yosef and Shimon the star that someone owes him money, becomes his. So therefore the loiva has nothing to taina. What could he taina? Nefila we're not choishesh. And if you say he was a pikadon, he could say, I bought it off you. I bought it after the Yosef and Shimon, and therefore you owe me the money. And the Tana Bra, who holds a we are choishesh, he holds a nikni oisis nikis b'mesira. So if Yosef and Shimon comes to Loiva and says, you owe me money, he could say, no, this is not your star. Maybe someone gave it to you as a pikadon just to keep it, and therefore I'm not paying you off. Says the Gemara, ואיבו תמק, דכולי עלמא אותיות נקנית במסירה, ואוכל בצריך להביא ראיה כמפלגי. תנא דידן סבר אין צריך להביא ראיה, ותנא דברא סבר צריך להביא ראיה. So the Gemara, really everyone holds, another way of explaining it, everyone holds, bein our Mishnah, bein the Brisa holds, oisius niknes b'mesira. And the shaila is, do you have to bring Eidim to say that you received it? The Tana Bayas says you don't need to bring Eidim that you got this star. And the Tana B'ra says, you do need to bring Eidim, and until you don't bring Eidim that you received it from the other Yosef and Shimon, or that was always yours, we don't believe you. Says the Gemara, the Itma, האותיות נקנות במסירה, אביי אמר צריך להביא ראיה, ורבא אמר אינו צריך להביא ראיה, אמר אביי, מנה אמינא לה, דתניא, אחד מן האחים שהשטר חוב יוצא מתחת ידו, עליו להביא ראיה. מה אליו הוא הדין לאחרימי? ורבא אמר שייני אחים דשמתו מהדדי. איקא דאמרי אמר רבא, מנה אמינא לה דתניא, אחד מן האחים שהשטר חוב יוצא מתחת ידו, עליו להביא ראיה. אחינו דשמתו מהדדי, אבל אחינו לא. ואביי אחינו צריך לסל, כדאי תחמין הכבן דשמתו מהדדי, אם המסדר זעירי ולא צריכי להביא ראיה, כמשמע לן. So the Gemara says, we learned a machloikis, like we said that this is a machloikis in the Mishnah, if you need to bring a raya or not, it's a machloikis amaroim. Now what's a machloikis? If Oisius, Reuven comes to Shimon with a loan that says Shimon owes Levi $1 million, and Reuven says, I bought it off Levi, or Levi gave it to me as a present to start. Does Reuven have to bring Eidim that he got it off Levi or not? So Abaye says he does need to, and Rava says he doesn't need to bring a raya. Says Abaye, you know how I know this thing? I'll tell you, because it says in the Brisa when there was someone passed away, Yaakov passed away, and he has a few sons, and Reuven has a star in his hand saying that someone owed his father money. And he says it's his star, he was split up in the Yerusha, or it belongs to him. And the other brothers say, no, you stole it off of this star, you grabbed it from the Yerusha and it doesn't belong to you. So it says in the Brisa that he needs to bring a raya. So Abaye says, like we see, that he needs to bring a raya. So anyone who comes with a star that doesn't say his name on the star has to bring a raya that he bought it, or they got to have a present. And Rava says, no, by brothers, that the Yerusha is by everyone, so one of them could grab it. Then we are choishesh, maybe he grabbed it. And therefore he needs to bring a raya. By a normal person, like the case that we were talking about, the Reuven comes to Shimon with a star of Levi. What is he doing by Reuven? How did he get off Levi? It must be Levi sold it to him or gave it to him as a present. Some people learn the opposite, that Rava brought the raya from this brisa, because Rava said, how do I know that you don't need a raya? Because it says over there in the brisa that one of the brothers who had a star choiv, he needs to bring a raya. It's mashma dafka brothers who are easy for them to steal one for each other. Then you need to bring a raya. But a normal person, Reuven and Levi, you would not need to bring a raya. A raya that you don't need to bring a raya. And Abai answered on that, no. You know why it says in the Brisa brothers, it's come to tell you that even brothers, that you'd think because it's easy to steal from each other, they would make sure that one won't steal from each other, they'll be careful, and therefore you won't need to bring a raya. Even by brothers you need to bring a raya, and therefore there's no raya to what you're trying to say, Rava. Continues the Gemara, אלא דתניא, כשם שמוצאים הן שטר חוב על אחרים, כך מוצאים זה על זה במייקוב מפלגי, וכותבים שטר ללווה, אף על פי שאין מלווה עמו כמפלגי. תניא דדן סבר, כותבים שטר ללווה, אף על פי שאין מלווה עמו. זימנו נמדע זה לגבי ספר וסעדי, ואמר לה, כותבי לי שטר דבין אל המזף מיוסף בן שמעון, חברי, ובתר דקתים וחתים עלי, נקיתנה לי, ואמר לי, אב לי מהדיאבת מני. תניא ברא סבר, אין כותבים שטר ללווה עד שיהיה מלווה עמו. Said the Gemara, we had already two machloikisim. In the Mishnah it said that they can't be moitzi a star one against each other, but they could be moitzi, these two Yosef and Shimons against other people that owe the money. The brisa that we had at the top of the page says, no, they can't even be moitzi against other people. Now we have a brisa that the most kuladik, that even one against each other, Yosef and Shimon could bring out a star. Said the Gemara, what is the source of a machloikis? Said the Gemara, the machloikis between the Mishnah and this brisa is, do you write a star for the loiva who borrows money when the malva is not with him? So our Mishnah holds that if I come to Bezdin and I say write a star that I owe $1 million to someone, they happily write me a star because it says against me. And then when the guy gives me the money, I'll give him the star. And if I lose it, it's my problem. So our Mishnah holds you're allowed to do it, and therefore Yosef ben Shimon could have gone to the Soifa and asked him, can you write a star that Yosef ben Shimon, me, owes Yosef ben Shimon $1 million, and they'll write him the star, and then he'll go to the other Yosef ben Shimon and say, you owe me money. Look, I have a proper star over here. And therefore, one against each other, they can't be moiti a star. But the Tana Bara holds, you never write, Bezdin will never write to Loiva a star if the malva is not there, and therefore the chashash can't happen, and therefore if the one who's muchzik in the star, we believe him that he's a malva. Says the Gemara, we learned in the Mishnah, נמצא לאחד בין שטרותיו, שטרו של יוסף בן שמעון פרוע, שטרות שניהם פרועים, תעמדי נמצא או לא נמצא מצי מאפיק, וענן ולא אחר יכול להוציא עליהם שטר חוב תנן, אמר אוויר מיה במשולשים, ונחזי תברה, בשמה דמן דקתיב, אמר ראש, ומשולשים בשטר ומשולשים בשובר. אביי אמר אחי כאמר, I'm going to read the back, אין, על אחרים מוציאים, נמצא ללווה בין שטרותיו, שטרו של יוסף בן שמעון עלי פרוע, שטרות שניהם פרועים. So, in the Mishnah it says that they could be moitzi shtar against other people, but other people can't be moitzi shtar against them because they could always be doichet to other Yosef and Shimon. And then afterwards it's in the Mishnah that if a malve found a shtar that, and it says on it that the shtar of Yosef and Shimon is paid off, and he has two shtaros against both Yosef and Shimon, he can't charge any of them because each one will say, you paid me off. I paid you off already. So the Gemara is medayik. The whole reason why this malve can't be moitzin against the loiva Yosef and Shimon a shtar because he found a shoiva to say that he paid it off. Or if he never found this receipt saying that Yosef and Shimon paid him off, he could go and be tovei Yosef and Shimon. How does that make sense? Before that in the Mishnah it said that no one can be moitzi a shtar against Yosef and Shimon that he owes him money because each one could say it's other Yosef and Shimon. So Rav Imriya says it's talking about that it's Mishuloshim, meaning that it says Yosef and Shimon ben Yaakov, so therefore we know it's Yosef and Shimon, because the other Yosef and Shimon is Yosef and Shimon ben Yitzchak, so therefore we know it's Yosef and Shimon. Says the Gemara, if in the shtar of the loan it says exactly who it is, we know which Yosef and Shimon it is, let's also look in the receipt. Which one is it? Yosef and Shimon, I got paid from Yosef and Shimon ben Yitzchak or ben Yosef and Shimon ben Yaakov? So Rabbi Oshia says it's talking about a case where in the shtar al-vo it says a grandfather, and therefore we know exactly who owes. But in the receipt it doesn't say the grandfather, and therefore each one could say I paid off, and therefore you can't be tovia any of them. So that's pshat in the Mishnah. Abaye says no, a new pshat in the Mishnah. The Mishnah is going on the case where it said that we're saying that they could be, if they're the malva Yosef and Shimon, they could be moitzin against someone else a shtar. But so let's say Yosef and Shimon has a shtar that Reuven owes the money, he could go and be tovia Reuven. Now there is a case over here that the loiva, not the malva, has a receipt saying this Reuven owes to both Yosef and Shimon, but he has one receipt saying they paid off the choiv. if the Loiva had a star saying that he paid off Yosef ben Shimon, so no one could be tovea him, because to each one he could say, no, I paid you off, and therefore they can't be tovea from the Loiva. Continues the Gemara, so we learned in the Mishnah that if we have two Yosef ben Shimon, what's the solutions? We had a few solutions. They should write the grandfather's name, and therefore it's a different name. And if the name of the grandfather is the same, it says the Mishnah that they should write one of them's a Kohen, that he's a Kohen. It says the Gemara, what happens if they were both Koyanim? So therefore they should write Doris, they should write 4 generations back, Yosef ben Shimon, ben Yaakov, ben Yitzchok, and the other one will be called Yosef ben Shimon ben Yaakov ben Avram. That means it's far-fetched to have 4 generations with the same names. And if not, you have to go further and further until you get that the grandfather has a different name, and therefore there's no chashash at the same Yosef ben Shimon. Says the Mishnah, אומר לבנו שטר בין שטרותיי פרעה ואין יודע איזה הוא, שטרות כולם פרועים, נמצא לאחד שם 2, הגדול פרעה והקטן אינם פרעה. So the Mishnah is talking about someone who's a shchimera, and he tells his son, someone who borrowed off me money paid me off, and I never gave him back the shtar. But I don't know which loiva was it. I have lots of people owe me money. I don't remember who it is, and he passes away. And he tells his son, I don't want to charge someone who doesn't owe me money. Says the Mishnah in this case, since he doesn't know who paid him off, the son can't charge anyone. He could go to all the people who owe his father money and say, did you still owe my father money? If they say yes, for sure, he could take the money. But if they say no, he can't be together them, even though they has a shtar. But if one of these loivim have 2 shtars, that means he took 2 loans from the person who died, one of £1,000 and one of £100, so then we don't know which shtar he paid off, but we assume only one shtar he paid off, and therefore the son could only be tovea the smaller amounts, £100 and not the £1,000. Says the Gemara, Amar Rava, shtar li biadcha parua, gadol parua, v'katan eni parua, chov li biadcha, חוב לך בידי פרוע, שטרות כולם פרועים. אמר לי רבינה לרב, האלה מעתה שדי מכורה לך, שדה גדולה מכורה לו, שדה שיש לי מכורה לך, כל שדותיו מכורה לו, אתה מיד בעל שטר על התחתונה. Says Rava, if Reuben comes to his friend, and he tells him, your document, your shtar is paid off, and now Reuben comes to Shimon, and Shimon owes Reuben 2 loans, a big loan and a small loan. Says the Rava, so Shimon says, I paid you off the big one. And therefore he only has to pay the small one. But he does have to pay the small one because it says only shtar is a pura, only one document, not the whole choiv. But if Reuben comes to Shimon and doesn't tell him shtar, he says choiv, what you owe me is pura, even though it's lashon yochid, we assume even if there's 10 shtars that Shimon owes to Reuben, he doesn't have to pay any of them back, because choiv means what you owe me. It doesn't matter how many shtars it's in. Ravina doesn't like this, and he asks Rava, if so, if what you're telling me, if Reuben comes to Shimon and says, a field of mine, Beloshen Yochid, is sold to you, so and we don't know which field we're talking about, we're going to assume he means the biggest field, like over here that he loses the biggest loan, or if he told him Sode, that's mashma, also a few and also one, is sold to you, that means all his fields are sold to him, like a choiv. Says the Gemara, no, the difference is over there, Yad Bal Shtar Atachtoina. If Reuben comes to Shimon and tells him, I sold you a field, so the fields are all in the hand of Reuben. Shimon is a tovea, he wants to be moitzik from Reuben. He needs to bring a raya, what field he sold and how many fields he sold. And until he doesn't bring a raya, he'll get the smallest one, not the biggest one. Masha Inkin by us, by the alvar, who's muchzik? The loiv is muchzik, and therefore the malva is the one who has to bring a raya, and otherwise he loses the biggest alvar. Says the Mishnah, מלווה את חברו על ידי ערב, לא יפרע מן הערב. ואם אמר לו על מנת שיפרע ממי שירצה, יפרע מן הערב. רב שמעון גמליאל אומר, אם יש נכסים ללווה, בין כך ובין כך לא יפרע מן הערב. וכן היה רב שמעון גמליאל אומר, הערב לאישה בכתובתה, והיה בעלה מגרשה, ידירנה הנאה, שם יעשו קניני הנכסים של זה, ויחזיר את אשתו. So the Mishnah over here is talking about a guarantor. Someone who's a guarantor for a loan. So it says the Mishnah, Reuben took a loan from Shimon, and Levi is a guarantor on the loan. So it says the Mishnah, you can't take from Levi money on this loan. And the Gemara is going to explain, Pashtus, that's what says the Mishnah, you can't go to Levi, but the Gemara is going to explain that doesn't literally mean you can't go in no circumstances. We'll see in the Gemara. The Mishnah continues on Kufa and Gimel Omid Beis, but if the Levi Shimon, the Malva said, I'm only willing for this loan on condition that I could charge this loan or from you, Reuven the Loiva, or from Levi the Aryeh, whoever I want. So he could go to the Aryeh, he could go to Levi and charge from him money, even if Reuven has money. And Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, no, if the Loiva Reuven has money, he has possessions, doesn't matter what the condition was, it was a normal guarantor on the condition that he could charge from anyone he wants, he can't charge from the guarantor, he has to charge from the Loiva. And also Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said, someone who's a guarantor for the woman in a ksuva, that means if a husband dies or divorces her, he'll make sure that she gets a ksuva, a guarantor, and then the husband divorces her. So now he's choishish, maybe the husband divorces her, he has no money, he's not going to pay off the ksuva, they're going to go to the guarantor, take the money, and then the man's going to marry the wife again. So it's a klinia. So says Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, what should you do? You should make the husband who's divorcing his wife madi anor. They should have no anor from this woman, and therefore only then he should pay off the choiv to the woman, the ksuva, and then the husband can't enjoy any anor from this ksuva that the Aryeh pays the woman. Says the Gemara, my time. The Gemara understood that when it says that to the guarantor that you can't come to Levi whatsoever. Says the Gemara, why is it so? Meaning, I'll explain again, the Rashbam explained, that the Arvus of Levi only helps if the Levi runs away or the Levi dies, then he can come to Levi. But if Reuven, the Malva is the Levi is still around, so you have to go to the Levi even if he has no money. And that the Gemara says, why is it so? So Rabbi Yosef, the Amrit Havari, Gavra Ashlimisli, Gavra Ashlimeloch. The svara is that the whole rischayvus of Levi the Aryeh is that Reuven won't disappear, won't die or run away. But if not, he says, look, I committed to make sure that the Levi doesn't run away. Here, the Levi is in front of you. He has no money, that's not my business. Matgif l'Rav Nachman, ahai dina de parsai, yad Rabbi Basar arba avli, ela bedina de parsai de lo yavetam el mersai. אלא אמר רב נחמן, מה לא יפר מן הערב, לא יתבע ערב תחילה, תנינא מאחי, מלווה את חברו, על ידי ערב לא יתבע ערב תחילה. ואם אמר לו, על מנת שיפעל ממי שירצה, יתבע ערב תחילה. Let me just see a second there, Rabbeinu Gershon. Yeah, okay, so we understand now. We understand now that the Levi, the Aryeh, could get away if the Levi is still around, even if the Levi has no money. On that Rav Nachman asks a kasha. That's a dina de parsoi, the Persian people, who'd say that why should Levi not have to pay? He's a guarantor. On that the Gemara says to go after the guarantor when Levi has money, when the Levi Reuven has money, that's Persian judgmental. That don't explain. You should first go to the Levi, and if the Levi doesn't have, then you go to the guarantor. So says Rav Nachman, I'll tell you what's pshat in the Mishnah. When it says Lo Yifram in Aryeh, that you can't go, the Malva Shimon can't go to the Aryeh Levi, it doesn't mean they can't go whatsoever. It means they shouldn't be toiveh the Aryeh Tchilo. That means Reuven took a loan of Shimon, Levi was the Aryeh. So when Shimon comes to Reuven, first he should go to Reuven. If Reuven doesn't have, only then he could go to the Aryeh, meaning he can't go to Levi first, before the Levi Reuven. So the Gemara, and also we have a brisa that says it's clear that someone takes a loan from his friend with a guarantor, he shouldn't claim from the guarantor first. He should first go to the Levi. But if, when he took the loan, the Malva said, on condition that I could claim from whoever I want, then he could go to the Aryeh first. אמר רבונה, מניין לערב דמשתעבד, דכסיב אנוכי ערבנו מידי תבקשנו. מה תגיב לרב חיסדא, קבלן אותי דכסיב תנה אותי על ידי ואני אשיבנו. אלא אמר רב יצחק מאחה, לקח בגדו כערב זר ובעד נכריע חבלו. ואומר, בני, אם ערבת לרעך, תקעת לזר כפיך, נוקשת ברמפיך, ננקעת ברמפיך, עשה זאת איפה בני וינצל, כי באת בכף רעך, לך התפרס ורעב רעך. אם ממון יש לך... אם ממון יש לו בידך, תר לו פיסת יד, ואם לאו הרבה עליו רעים. So the Gemara wants to know, how do we know that Aryeh, a guarantor, is mischayev for this loan, even though they didn't do any kinyan? How does it work? So Rav Huna says, because it says in the pasuk that Reuven told his father, give me when Yosef was in Mitzrayim and he said, I'm only willing to see you if you bring me Binyamin. And Yaakov didn't want to send Binyamin to Mitzrayim. So Reuven said, I'm taking Arvus, I'll be a guarantor that Binyamin comes back. And we could see with his word it works. Because he said, Anochi Arven, and Yaakov agreed, and there was an Arvus over there. Now there's two things. There's a guarantor. That's what we're talking until now, and there's a Kablin. Kablin means not that Levi comes and says, oh, I'm a guarantor to this loan that you give Reuven. No, Levi comes to Shimon the Malva and he says, please go give money to Reuven and I'll pay you back. That's a stronger than a normal guarantor. That's him. It's like he took the loan himself, and that's called a Kablin. So Rav Chisda asked, the story over there of Reuven and Yaakov is a Kablonus. Why? Because they're telling the Pasuk, no, Yisrael Yodi, give him to me and I'll give him back. And how do we know what's the difference between a Kablin and an Orev? Orev is a guy who says, I'll guarantor this loan. Or a Kablin is when he says, give him to me, give me the money, or give him the money. That means give it. And he's saying to give it, so therefore it's a Kablonus. So also over here it's Kablonus. We want to write to Orev. Says Rav Chisda, I'll tell you what to write. Says Rav Yitzchok, I'll tell you what to write. Because it says in Mishlei two psukim. One pasuk is Lokach bigdoi ke'orev zor, ba'ad noch ruach hablo, though we could see over there that there's arvus. And another pasuk is that says Bini imurav l'recho. If you are orev to your friend, tukato l'zakrapecho, you committed yourself to your friend. And if nukashto b'imrepecho, if you said to him bad, rude things, nikadeto b'imrepecho, you caught with your words. I said this. So this is what you should do to be saved. If you're Orev and you committed money to him to be Orev to a loan, meaning if you have money, if he has money that you're Orev for a loan, go pay him off. So we could see that Orev is chayav to pay. If you just root him, send your friends and lots of people who like him and like you, to make him not upset with you. But we can see from here that there is a din of Arvus. Amar Ameimar, Rav de Mishtabed, Machloket Rav Yudah Rav Yossi, Rav Yossi Damar Asmachta Kanya Rav Mishtabed, Rav Yudah Damar Asmachta Lo Kanya Rav Lo Mishtabed, Omar Rav Ashi Ameimar, Amasim Bechol Yom Da Asmachta Lo Kanya, Rav Mishtabed, El Amar Rav Ashi, Bo Ana De Kamema Le Gamar O Mishtabed Nafshe. So says Ameimar, if a Arab is Mishtabed without a Kinyan or not, it depends on the Machlokas Rav Yudah and Rav Yossi that we had earlier on, if Asmachta, if like a type of bet works or not, because the Arab never really wants to commit money if the loive won't pay. He's only willing to agree to it because he's hoping that the loive is going to pay off. So it's like Asmachta. So lefi the shita Asmachta is koina. So also Arab works. Lefi the shita Asmachta loikani Rav Yehuda. So Arab doesn't work. So Rav Ashi tells Amerima, I can't be what he's saying, because we know the Asmachta is not kainia. Every day these things happen. We pass in like Rabbi Yehuda that bet does not work. Mitzad Sheni, we know that Arav does work. Someone who's a guarantor, it does work. Says Rav Ashi, I'll tell you pshat. Because I know that we believe, and now I know that we believe the Arav when this situation is going on. That Shimon says, I'm only willing to lend you Reuven if you bring me someone who will be a guarantor. And Reuven brings Levi. And that means Shimon trusts Levi. So it's I know. So in that I know that we trust him, he's mishtabed nafshe, and even though the asmachta loikania, but here he's getting something, he's getting a no, and for that no, the shibud tzchal. B'mama amena sheifa mimishir, tzeh Rabbi bar Rav Chana, amar Rabbi Yochanan, לא שנו אלה שנכנסים ללווה, אבל יש ללווה לא יפרע מן הערב. המדיקטני ספר רב שמעון גליל אומר, אם יש נכסים ללווה לא יפרע מן הערב, בכלל דתני כמה סבר, לא שנה אחי ולא שנה אחי, חיסור נכס רבה קטני המלווה את חברו על ידי הערב, לא יפרע מן הערב, אם הממנת שיפרע ממי שירצה יפרע מן הערב. ומהדברים אמורים שאין נכסים ללווה, אבל יש נכסים ללווה, לא יפרע מן הערב, וקבלן, אף על פי שיש נכסים ללווה, יפרע מן הקבלן. רב שמעון גליל אומר, אם יש נכסים ללווה, אחד זה ואחד זה, לא יפרע מהם. So we learned in the Mishnah that if we said that, so the ratio of the Mishnah we understand, it says that a loiv, Arav, you could only go to him if the loiv doesn't have money. The next case of the Mishnah is that the Malva says b'shas alvo, that Almenas, I'm giving you this loan, Almenas, I could go directly to the Arav, to the guarantor, to Levi. So it says in the Mishnah, if from an Arav, he could claim from the guarantor. On that Rabbi Bar Chana and says in the name of Yochanan, when can he take from the guarantor? Only when the loiv has no money. But if the loive has money, he can't take from the guarantor. Said the Gemara, how could this be? Because on this din it says, Rab Shimon Gamliel says, if the loive does have nechosim, you can't claim from the Aryeh. So it must be, if this is Shittas Rab Shimon Gamliel, Tanakhama argues on that and says that even if the loive has nechosim, you could claim from the Aryeh. So how are you, Rabbi Yochanan, telling us that Lefi Tanakhama, you could only claim from the Aryeh if the loive has no nechosim? So the Gemara, okay, we have to add on to the Mishnah part. And this is how we read the Mishnah. Someone who lends from his money from his friend with a guarantor, you can't claim from the guarantor. If he said on condition that I could claim from wherever you want, you could claim from the guarantor. But when can he claim from the guarantor? When the loiva has no nechosim. But if there is nechosim from the loiva, he can't claim from the guarantor. That means he first has to go to the loiva, even if he said al menas, I'll claim from wherever I want. But kaplan, like we mentioned earlier on, that's a stronger v'na'orev, a stronger commitment. Even though if the loiva has nechosim, you could go to the kaplan. And on that, Reb Shimon Gamliel says that even if we're talking about the Aryeh, you could not claim from the, even if we're talking about Kabbalah, you could not claim from the Kabbalah only if the loiva has no nechosim. If the loiva has nechosim, doesn't matter in what cases, Reb Shimon Gamliel, you could not claim from the Aryeh or from the Kabbalah, only from the loiva. Thank you very much. We should have a blessed week, a week that we're going to finish Baba Basra. It's very exciting. Start a new Masechta of Sanhedrin. Also very exciting Masechta. We should be zoicha to finish on time, to know what we learned, to understand it, and also to start Sanhedrin and finish the whole Shas together with Yerushalmi and the whole Torah Kula. Thank you very much. Good vach.